Hello, viewers, and welcome to Trio Talks. Today we have a lot planned. We're going to talk about how to become a Trio Preferred Agent Plus. We're going to talk about marketing resources and different sort of things that we offer here at Trio. We're going to talk about how to do a Facebook ad. If you've never done an actual Facebook ad from the back end, it's really important to pay attention to this. We're going to talk about everything on marketing tips and tricks, paying attention to different things. And our guest today is our marketing specialist, Emma. How are you, Emma?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for joining us. And Emma's an expert in all this stuff. So if you have questions, as always, go ahead and put them in the chat section. She'll go ahead and answer those questions. You may have seen Emma, if you're in the Facebook group, you may have seen her posting a lot of different things. I know she posted the advertisement for today's thing, as well as different content in the Facebook group. So if you've ever had a chance, drop a line and say hello to her. So why don't we go ahead and get started, Emma? Let me go ahead and share our PowerPoint here. Yeah, there we go.
That's great.
All right. So let's go ahead and get started here. Let's go ahead and talk about when we say TPA Plus. TPA is short for Trio Preferred Agent. What is a TPA Plus?
Yeah, so TPA Plus is basically once you get to the next step is something I would say. So when agents close on 3 Trio homes, they do earn the distinction of TPA Plus. And when I say 3 Trio homes, I mean 3 for that year. So although you may have closed a few homes with us in 2020, it does start over January 2021, as it will January 2022. And once you qualify for TPA Plus, you actually get to choose 2 options. So you either get free design time with Trio's digital designer, which is great, or you actually get a Trio hosted customer event where we will have a customer event in your area. You'll be able to market on your social media platforms and bring some customers over, and we're happy to present Trio and kind of explain the process to them. And yeah, like I said, available after every 3rd transaction. So you'll get it on your 3rd transaction, your 6th transaction, and then your 9th too. And then so on if you keep making deals. So very exciting.
No, that's fantastic. And remember, as a Trio Preferred Agent, we're working on a tier system for referral fees, right? And so you're going to earn as much as 80% of your commission all the way to 90%. You'll keep moving on down. And so we just want to reward those that are continuing to do that good work. We're wanting to help you guys out and offering these 2 options. And these are fantastic, working with a digital designer. If you've never done that, actually sitting down with them and going over different ideas and images and this is a time to really kind of brand yourself, right? And then the hosted customer event, these are fantastic. We've definitely done quite a few of these with really, I think our best one, we had 250 customers attend this. So, these are 250 leads that you're now going to be getting. So it's a great opportunity. If this is something you'd like to do, look at becoming a TPA Plus, right? Close a few deals with us. We'll definitely gift that to you. That's our gift to you from the marketing department. So thanks. That's fantastic. I love that. Mm-hmm. All right. So I know there's a lot of marketing resources out there. Not everybody takes a look at them, right? And I think this is a time to kind of highlight what is out there and where you can find these.
Yeah, definitely. So on our agent-facing website, thetrioresidential.com, if you click resources and scroll down, you'll see what's on the PowerPoint right here that Aaron has published. So there's
you
some
have to scroll past the blue section, right? Not everybody scrolls past that blue section with all the documents. Past all the documents is this wonderful stuff right here that Emma's talking about. So keep scrolling down.
Yeah, it's very close to the bottom, which sometimes people get confused on, but there's some details on our branding, logo and colors. And then we also have marketing materials such as postcards, templates, flyers, door hangers, and images. And then we also have our social media guidelines on there as well. So if you're ever a little unsure of what you can post with Trio, you'll tap that social button and click guidelines just so you could read about it. And yeah. And then,
that's great. Yeah, please take a look. Each one of those boxes kind of brings up a menu of different options that we have available. So yeah, if you haven't had a chance to take a look at, please go ahead and take a look at it. They're really fantastic. Emma and Jenny have done a great job of putting these together.
Definitely.
All
And
right.
then next up, we have just some images that are going to be coming to that page. So they're not published yet. We just want to give our agents, loan officers, as many marketing materials as possible. So this is just kind of a glimpse of what you guys may see in the future for images that you're able to post on your social media platforms to promote Trio, promote yourself, and just have something fun in the fall mix.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to go ahead and share some of these things. And it's a great option for you to go ahead and obviously use for ads or for any sort of social media content. These look like they're ready for Instagram for sure, and probably for Facebook as well, right? So fantastic. That looks great, Emma.
Yeah, of
All
course.
right. So let's go ahead and talk about Facebook advertising.
Yeah. So, what is Facebook advertising? It's a form of advertising that's just an important way to connect with your audience on Facebook. It introduces you to a new audience, which is nice. I'm sure all of us have made many Facebook posts. And when you do post on Facebook, it's kind of targeting your current audience, the people who are already following you, already friends with you, may have already worked with you as well. However, with Facebook ads, you're targeting a complete new audience. They don't know who you are, and they are hopefully going to want to work with you after seeing your ads. What's really nice about Facebook is that the ads grant you analytics. You could target a specific audience. So people who are interested maybe in renting, people who are wanting to rent to own with Trio. And yeah, so it's just a nice new audience. And then one thing I wanted to include on here is that consumers spend about 2.5 hours a day interacting with Facebook. So if you're not,
Wow.
if you're not advertising on Facebook, you're missing a whole new group of people that you really could get more business from. So it's definitely a good way to just drive your business and get more leads.
Emma, how long do you spend a day on Facebook? Just personal Facebook, do you
I
think?
know I don't even want to mention that, but I am on
You
our
don't
Trio
have to. You don't
Facebook.
have to. You don't have to. I literally spend about 5 minutes a day on Facebook. That's about it because it's. I look for my nieces and nephews' pictures, but I do see a lot of good advertising on Facebook, and I will say I actually have purchased some things on Facebook. I definitely know my wife has purchased a couple things on Facebook from Facebook advertising, so it really does work, right? Because you're always kind of wondering, have you ever talked about something and then you're like, wow, there's a Facebook ad talking about what I just talked about? It's probably because you've Googled it, you've looked it up somewhere, right? And their analytics are looking for interest that you have, right? And so that's fantastic. It's realize that, like what she's saying, it's a way to really target a specific customer. And sometimes true customers can be very specific, right? Small business owners, those graduating from college, those that are renting, like she mentioned, right? So think about that as definitely an option. Facebook advertising has worked out really well for Trio, and I'm sure it'll work out great for you as well. So let's move on to the next slide.
Definitely. So we are actually going to go through, like Erin mentioned earlier in the presentation, but actually how to create a Facebook ad. So take notes if you're interested in making a Facebook ad, or if you just want to listen for some nice tips. But first, you're going to log on to Facebook and click that Ad Center button. We have that highlighted in kind of like that peach orange color, but you'll click that Ad Center button, and then it will show you the next page, which is
Emma, just real quick, where can we find this? Is on a page that you own, not a personal page, right? This is a business page, or right? Okay. So
yes.
just a word of caution, don't be doing this from your personal account. This would be for your official real estate account or your lending account, whatever it might be, right? Whatever your business account is, and it gives you these options, because you won't see these options on your personal Facebook page, right? So
Yeah, of course.
cool. All right. I just wanted to double.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that.
No. I
Forgot
just
to say
realized
that.
it.
And then here at the top left, you'll see the create button. So you're going to want to press that. That will actually begin the process of creating your ad. So yeah, right there.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries. And then next, you're actually able to choose your campaign objective. So Facebook gives you a ton of different options to choose from. You'll see like brand awareness, reach, traffic, engagement, all of that. However, we have circled lead generation and messages. These are kind of the two most popular ones we'd recommend for the real estate industry and just kind of promoting your business and yourself. So lead generation is going to generate new leads. It basically creates an ad that allows people to share their location and housing preferences with you. So there's that option. And then there's also messages. Messages are going to encourage people to message you and maybe ask questions or just get in contact with you. This is a great option. This is probably my favorite option to use. However, if you do choose to use this option, just make sure you're actually checking the Facebook Messenger app, because that's typically where the messages will go. And sometimes it will slip in the message request form. So you just want to really make sure you're checking that every day. Everybody loves a timely response. And maybe if someone messages you in the morning and you don't see it till later in the day, they could potentially be working with somebody else by that time. So just highly recommend being very active there.
Absolutely.
And then next up, it will bring you to the special ad category page. You are legally required to declare if your ads relate to certain issues. So for real estate, we're obviously relating to housing. So make sure you have that checked off. Deviation from this rule can result in permanent loss of advertising privileges on Facebook and or Instagram. And it does take a really long time to get those privileges back. So always make sure you're checking off housing. Maybe even take a screenshot of the slide just so you could really remember, but very important for sure.
Absolutely. I love to call that Facebook jail, but I have known that some agents who have completely lost their entire Facebook page because of it. And think about all those connections that you have on that Facebook page. Then you're having to rebuild that whole thing. And like you said, Emma, there's definitely a long time to get out of Facebook jail, right? Before you can get out of there and actually start doing this again and start building a platform again. So yeah, very important. Unfortunately, this came about, I believe, at the end of 2019, and super important. So you have to click on the housing category there.
Definitely. And then next up, you're actually able to set up your budget. Facebook ads are relatively cheap if you want them to be. You could always invest a little more if you're wanting to. So your first couple times, I would typically recommend just kind of keeping it minimal. You don't want to spend a ton of money, and you kind of want to see what works before you invest significant amount of money. So I'd probably say set a budget of about like maybe $10 just to start off with. Have your campaign on for a few days. I would always recommend setting an end date to your campaign just so you don't forget about it. That would definitely not be great if you found out 2 weeks later you were spending $50 a day. But so yeah, maybe your first few times set an end date, kind of see what works for you, and then just what timelines you're liking, what posts are attracting more people, and just using the analytics to really see what works best for you and go from there. And then lastly, one thing is Facebook ads could actually take 24 or more hours to be approved. So let's say you're talking about an event that's in a few days, make sure you plan ahead and try to set those posts a week or two in advance.
That's great advice. So what does the dollar amount kind of constitute right there? What, is it the more frequent that ad's going to get out there, or the more people it's going to reach, or a little bit of both? What does it kind of constitute right there? Because I'm like, well, I only want to spend $5, right? I don't want to spend $20 a day, right? So what does that mean exactly?
Definitely. So like you said, it's kind of both. It tells you how many people you're going to reach and all of that. So, I mean, if you're wanting to reach as many people as possible, I would definitely recommend spending $20, $30 a day. But it's always just good just to start off small and just kind of take it from there.
Yeah. And think about too, if you're in a large metropolitan area and you want to cover that entire population, right? Obviously, you're probably going to need a little bit more a day to reach people. Otherwise, they may not see it that day or even that week, right? The lower the amount, but the higher the amount, they will see it more frequently, right? And as we know in marketing, it's going to take at least 6 or 7 times to get in front of somebody before they actually go, oh yeah, what is that? I'm going to click on that, right? So frequency does count.
And then next up, we're actually going to choose the audience. So first, you'll be able to set the location, which needs to be a minimum of a 15-mile radius. Age and gender are actually not able to be changed. So you do have to keep it with I think that's 18 to 65, and then gender is all.
Oh, it looks like you're breaking up just a little bit, Emma. I don't think it's me. I just want to double check here. I'll go ahead and continue talking. So she's saying here. Oh, there you are. Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
You were kind of breaking up when you were talking about. No, it's the internet, right? You were talking about age and gender and how those can't be adjusted. You were saying, right?
Okay.
Oh, it looks like it's happening again. So she's saying that age and gender cannot be adjusted, and that's part of the whole housing special ads category. We can't discriminate between genders. We can't discriminate for age, so we can only work with 18 to 65 plus. So it's still a very, very large range. So with the housing ad category, that unfortunately that's what you have to do. But oh, you're back. Okay, good.
So sorry, I
go
just
ahead
connected to the
and
hotspot on
no
my phone.
worries, no worries. I was just picking up where you were left off.
Perfect. Okay, so then, yeah, thanks so much for covering for me there. Sorry, everybody. But so one thing that's great is that you could actually put in additional interests. So you could target people who are interested in certain things. So maybe first-time home buyers, rent to own, lease to own, those just currently renting right now. And then it basically, what it does is it makes your audience that you're reaching a little bit smaller, but it makes it more targeted. So as opposed to reaching, thousands and thousands of people who are just kind of maybe interested, but not really, you're going to reach hundreds and hundreds of people who are more so interested in your ads, if that makes sense.
That's great. That's great. All right. Next slide. Oh, radius.
Yes. So on the radius, this is actually going to be where you could put in your specific locations. One thing is that you cannot do zip code selection. So you will have to do city and kind of move the, I guess drop pin is what that's called, is move that around just to make sure you're targeting the specific area that you do want. Like I said earlier, minimum radius is 15 miles. So just make sure that you're targeting the area that you are wanting in larger areas such as like Houston, Austin. Just make sure if you're wanting to reach more people in North Houston, just make sure that drop pin reflects where you are wanting to target.
Absolutely. As you can see there on this image, you're looking at Tucson, and that pin pretty much covers all of Tucson, right? So you can't, like she said, specify zip code or certain neighborhoods or anything like that. Used to be able to, but with the new housing ad specification, we're not allowed to go ahead and do that. So just please realize you will get a lot of different people when you're doing this, which is good.
Perfect. And then with this, so one thing that I find really interesting is when you chose the first-time home buyer, rent-to-own, people who are interested in things, there's an and an or option. So what you can do is you can narrow down your audience. So when you clicked rent-to-own, lease-to-own, first-time home buyer, you can make it so that people are all interested in those three items, as opposed to people who are maybe interested in one of the three. So again, like I said earlier, it just makes your audience a little more targeted and a little smaller. And honestly, smaller the better. You don't want to target thousands of people, like I just mentioned. You want to target people who really care about what you're talking about, and you don't want to waste any money on these ads, and just focus on the people who will really be attracted to your business.
That's great. Yeah, because think about it, you're talking about dropping that pin on, let's say, like the image, all of Tucson. This is your way now to narrow that pin down to the people, the targeted folks that you actually want to help in those specific areas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right, what's next here? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where this can go.
So now you get to choose the placement of the ad. We do recommend Facebook feeds because it gives you the most visibility, which is just obviously something that all of us want. But you're also able to put this on Instagram or even Facebook Messenger. So no matter what, I'd recommend Facebook and then Instagram if you can.
Perfect.
And then now is the fun part where we actually get to create the ad. So you have the option to choose.
We haven't even created the ad yet. We're just.
Yeah, seriously. Now it's the design part, which is fun.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So you have the option to choose a single image, video, or a carousel. If those who don't know, carousel is when you have like the few images that kind of slides through. We typically recommend just choosing a single image that will just keep things simple. Sometimes agents will like to have a photo of like themselves and just some fun information about you. And then you actually get to create then Aaron, if you go to the next slide, we'll actually get to create the media, which is fun.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Perfect. So then you will be directed to this where you'll see primary text. This is just kind of where you could tell people what your ad is about. We typically recommend sticking to about 6 to 10 words. You don't want to give them too long of a header, so just make sure to keep that small. As you can see in the image to the right, it says Austin's top real estate agent. Next up, you'll choose the headline. So something very quick, easy. I really like this. Let me help you find your dream home. I think that's a great thing to say. Or if you're advertising Trio, you could say, hey, having trouble with a down payment, let me help you. Description, this is optional, but definitely don't make this an option. Always fill this out. Just kind of give some information about yourself, let people know who you are, and just try to connect with them within 2 to 4 sentences. And then at the bottom, you see the call to action. So this is where you could have people send you a message. This is where you could have people go to your website directly. It's kind of up to you. I typically like to send a message just because it kind of makes things a little more personal and a little friendlier.
I know when you think of advertising, you think of it as not very personal, but like you're mentioning the message, people are one expecting you to respond, and they're actually, you respond right away. It becomes a conversation really quickly, right? And then you can move on over to a telephone if you'd like to, or Zoom, or even in person. But this is a great way to personalize this sort of experience for the customer, right? And as we know, it's definitely a very personal experience for them finding this home. Yeah, this is a great ad. This is a great way to kind of highlight where these things are going in the ad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So I guess, all right. So I guess that kind of takes care of the ad. And like you said, it takes about 24 hours at least for Facebook to approve them before they can actually get going. So, plan them in advance, get them ready to go. You can always, get these ready to go even a couple weeks in advance. And then when it's ready to go, you can go ahead and hit go so that they're actually live and reaching out to different folks. But let's talk about different marketing tips and tricks that we're learning along the way, and wanted to share some things with you guys.
Yeah, definitely. So first off is just select your appropriate social media channel. Typically, this is going to be Facebook and Instagram. And then let's take a look. Oh, and then
you're talking about like where customers are going to be reached,
yes.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sure we all have a LinkedIn. LinkedIn for real estate isn't really somewhere you're going to get many customers. So we just don't recommend promoting that stuff on LinkedIn unless you're trying to reach other lenders, maybe network, go from there. But if you are trying to only target consumers, keep it within Facebook and Instagram because that's where your consumers are. And the next step, planning and optimizing your social content. So kind of keeping a calendar ready. Sometimes people like to post on holidays. Sometimes people like to post on certain days. So just plan everything, kind of get an idea of what you're going to be posting. I'd say within like a few weeks. So have everything planned a few weeks out. There are some great websites such as like Hootsuite. That's a platform where you could actually plan stuff. You could schedule posts. So if you want to send something out at Thursday at noon, it will automatically post on your Facebook, Instagram, whatever platform you're wanting. So just something that is really nice. It's going to make your life a little bit easier and a little better with planning. And then next up is kind of look at what your competitors are doing. Just see what they're doing, what you like about what they're working with, what you don't really like. And I mean, obviously don't copy anyone, but it's just kind of nice to see what other agents in your area are doing and what's been working for them.
Obviously look at the competitors that are doing really well, right?
Yeah.
So what are they doing differently than you, right? Maybe they're spending more money. Maybe they have worked with a designer, right? One of our options with TPA Plus to go ahead and really brand their content well. Maybe they're selling the experience more than they're selling the agent, right? There's all sorts of little factors in there. So yeah, take a look at the competition, what they're doing, especially the ones that are doing really, really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then next up, just stay consistent, prioritize authenticity. You want to be yourself. You don't want to come across as somebody who maybe fake or just not who you are. I think the more you connect with your audience and the more you let your audience know that, hey, I'm a real person, the more they're going to want to work with you, respect you, and maybe even refer you out to their friends and family members as well. And then next up is be responsive. So kind of what I mentioned earlier, just make sure you're checking your Facebook messages if you do set up those Facebook ads. People, again, like I said earlier, people may message you at 9 a.m. in the morning. And if you don't respond, they're going to find someone else just because they want an agent who's going to help them as soon as possible. And I know most of the time people are wanting to get into a home as quick as possible. So it's just definitely a good tip and good thing to keep in mind. And then
Absolutely.
also,
and Messenger is available on your phone. It's a separate app from the Facebook ad or
Mhm.
Facebook app. But it's also an app for your desktop as well. So you can continue the conversation on both platforms. You can even do video chat with it. So it's a great, if you're only using it through the Facebook app, I would highly recommend you download just the Messenger by itself. It's a much more robust app that way. And like she's saying, yeah, make sure the notifications are on for it because customers do want to have that conversation, right? There's something really casual about social media that's really good, and it makes it much more of a fun atmosphere for these sort of conversations.
Of course. Yeah, definitely a great thing to have. And then you could also set notifications on your phone to not bother you after a certain time. So if you want family time at 8 p.m., you can make it so you don't get those messages at 8 p.m., but just always something to keep in mind. And then also, you always want to analyze your social media ads. Some ads may work better than others. If you do set up a new ad, maybe change the language a little bit and see what's going to work and just learn from there. Just so you could always keep improving and keep trying to get as much business.
That's great. And then what's this last one right here about sharing accurate data and research? I can share a personal story from this week. I got hooked into something that was posted on LinkedIn, and I was like, I didn't know about that. And it was something about the housing market. But when I clicked on the link, it was an article from 2018. Well, that's not, a lot has happened since then, right? So you want the most up-to-date and current data, right? So I'm sure that's what you're talking about right there, right?
Exactly. Yeah. If you're going to share an article, just make sure you're checking your sources. Like Aaron said, if it's from 2018, I can guarantee it's probably not relevant now because 2021 has been such a crazy year and real estate's very crazy right now. So yeah, just always fact check because that stuff could really come back and bite you if you're wrong or if you shared something that does have inaccurate data.
Absolutely, yeah. And like she said before, stay consistent, the authenticity, and if you're telling the truth and you're sharing accurate information, you become a resource for that customer, right? And so they end up trusting you that way, which is fantastic. All right, what's next?
Of course.
Oh, it looks like I might have lost you again, Emma. It's okay. So lead generation,
Yeah.
obviously,
Next up
I'm
is
sure
just
most.
trying to expand your database and meet as many new people, network.
Oh, I think I might have lost you again, Emma. Can you hear me okay? I'll go ahead and move on to the next section. So then you can just go ahead and jump on with lead generation when you come back on. So building connections and partnerships. It's so important to go ahead and do this. Many, I feel like a lot of real estate agents that I talk to, they're kind of on like an island of one, right? And it makes perfect sense, right? You are working with the customer by yourself and you are making connections with different lenders and title companies and things like that. But you don't always necessarily have a team. But if you start visualizing those folks as your team and fantastic partnerships, a lot of different things can actually come out of that, right? Systems can be put in place. And I know a lot of agents, when I talk to them about this and they start working with lenders and title companies, it's like a system kind of becomes in place for them to go ahead and do lead generation from, let's say, a credit repair company to the agent to the lender, right? There's a lot of different ways that this can work out great. And the customer may work for Trio, they may not work for Trio, but it does at least fully vet the option right there. And the customer is getting the best customer service possible. So those sort of connections and partnerships can really go ahead and go a long way. I know a lot of agents are starting to do these customer events together with lenders. They're starting to go ahead and partner up, like I said, on systems in terms of how they are processing these leads and how they are communicating with the customers together, which is really fun. I mean, if you are a customer, seeing a team of people come to you and say, hey, we're here to help you find a home, that's fantastic, right? People love to see that. Oh, you're back.
Yes.
Why don't we? No worries. You were kind of cutting off on lead generation? Why don't you talk about that just for a second?
Yeah.
And we'll
So
move on
sorry.
to the
Thanks so
last
much
one.
for covering for me again. I guess
Yeah.
I need to work on my Wi-Fi a bit at home, but I heard everything you said about the build connections and reach out to lenders. That was fantastic. Thanks so much. And then, yeah, like I said, with lead generation, just, you always want to focus on networking, getting new leads, and maybe asking family and friends for a referral, having people give you a nice review just so you could develop more leads. And a great way to get leads is Facebook advertising. So kind of leading to what we were talking about, just always expanding your database and trying to network, meet as many people, and grow your business.
Absolutely. And then this last one right here, reaching out to lenders and title companies. This is another great lead generation source. Why don't you go ahead and take it away on this last one?
Yeah, so it's always great just to reach out to a lender to get leads from loan denials. So sometimes they will be able to connect you to those people who you'll be able to introduce Trio to, and have a Trio deal with them. Just to people who can't typically qualify for a traditional loan will go on to the lease to own home ownership path and get a home through Trio, which is all that we want to do here. So.
Mm-hmm. It's funny, I do have a couple agents that I talk to, and they always tell me to never talk about this last bullet point right here, because this is their way of getting so many leads for Trio and other deals. And they say, how much it costs them? Absolutely nothing for advertising, right? But it's a great way to actually get really, really accurate information about customers that for sure have wanted to go through the process. And you get to swoop in and be, the superhero here and tell them, hey, I may have another opportunity for you to get into home ownership, right? And that's obviously Trio. So, I know they don't like me mentioning it, but it's a fantastic lead source right here. Loan denials, it's not as necessarily as, flashy as Facebook marketing, but it saves a lot of money, and you're actually getting really, really accurate data that well. Plus you're building that partnership with a lender or title company, which is really, really great, right? So a lot of really great options here. I think that's all we have today. I'm checking to see. I don't see any comments, but we will definitely check on the comments on YouTube as well as Facebook group. Emma, thanks so much for joining us. A great presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And with anyone with any questions, feel free to reach out to our marketing department at Trio. You could email marketing@thinktrio.com. I'd love to go on there, answer any questions, or help you guys out if anyone has anything at all. So thanks so much for having me. I had a great time. So sorry about my Wi-Fi too.
No worries at all. No worries. Thanks again, Emma. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.